Hi, welcome to this presentation with Bergs Timber. My name is Benedicte Ås and I work as an equity research analyst at ABG. Allow me to introduce Anders Marklund, CFO. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Benedicte, and good afternoon, and welcome to this presentation of Bergs Timber. Bergs Timber is a company with traditions. This year we celebrate 102 years as a company, and to many of you it is known as a sawmilling company based in the region of Småland in south of Sweden. And that has been the main operations actually since the start in 1919. Currently, we are in a process to transforming the company. We are going more in the direction of value-added products with hopefully higher and more stable margins than the very volatile sawmilling businesses. So to the left in the slide, you can see a hotel in London, and you might wonder why we have that as the front page. And that was actually also the page what you had in our Q2 report, but I will leave that as a cliffhanger later on in the presentation. And I would like to start with some facts that you might not connect Bergs Timber with, but take the next slide, please. So, for example, that we are one of the largest producers of wood protection in Europe, and we have operations in Sweden, Latvia, and the UK. Next slide. Last year, we delivered more than 10,000 wooden frame pools to France, actually. And that is ready-made timber frame pools for leisure in gardens mainly, and sold via DIY stores in France. And this year it will even be more, so 11,000 will be the number. Next slide, please. So if you are a golfer, I'm sure that you have heard of Turnberry Golf Resort, which is one of the most high-ranked golf courses in the world, on the west coast in Scotland. And our subsidiary in the UK has delivered more than 1,000 windows and doors to the renovation that was made a couple of years ago. And that is what you also can see on the picture. Next slide, please. And that we also have 43 showrooms around in the UK for showing our windows and doors, where about half of those windows and doors are supplied internally from our subsidiary in Latvia. Next slide, please. So that's a little bit a teaser of Bergs Timber, what we are at the moment and in the direction that we are going. And looking at the company profile for Bergs is that we own and develops wood processing companies. We are more of an owning company today rather than an operational sawmilling company. We have a very decentralized business model with independent subsidiaries with clear responsibilities for the results, with highly motivated management, also with incentive schemes based on the profits in the companies. We have operations in 3 different product areas, that is wood protection, joinery, and sawn wood. And we have a clear target of growing the business quite significantly, and that will be made through investments, acquisitions, but also working with innovations and different kind of solutions to our customers. Next slide. If we look at the current operations, we have 8 independent companies in the group. We have 9 production plants in Estonia, Latvia, Sweden, and the UK. We are about 950 employees, where the main numbers are in the Baltics and in the UK. The first half year of this year, we had a net sales of 1.4 billion SEK, and with a very good profitability of 211 million in EBITDA, corresponding to a margin of 15%, where the margin in the second quarter was 18%. So we are having very good growth and profitability development this year. and of course, positively affected also by the strong trend for renovation and construction due to the pandemic, but also the low interest rates. We are a very strong financial company with very low leverage, and that we are really prepared to also to develop the company in the strategy that I will describe today. Next slide. So why do we think it's interesting to invest in Bergs? I think we have a decentralized business model with the independent subsidiaries and very motivated management groups with a clear focus on daily operations and improvements. We are also in a process when we have strong and growing demand for sustainable wood products. It has been discussed a lot about building more in wood, but we can definitely see that also in statistics and in the real world. So the interest for our product is definitely growing. We have recognized strong brands, both business to consumers, but mainly to business. We have an ambitious growth target with an annual growth rate annually of 10%. And that should be organically and through acquisitions. We think that our transmission from a sawmilling company to an active ownership company is the right thing to do. And that will also help to be a less volatile company, and we will have more stable and higher margins in our business that we are sure of. And we have a very strong position also to develop the company in line with the strategy that we are discussing today. Next page, please. As I mentioned, we are organized in 3 product areas, where the biggest one is wood protection. And with wood protection, we mean some kind of treated wood, mainly for building applications. That could be decking, which most of you have done by yourselves, but we also have cladding, we have posts and other product groups. And here we are focusing on growth and margin. And I would say this will come more from special products that I will show you a little bit later on. And you also can see the profits by quarter and the net sales also that's included in the picture as well. And you can see an increasing trend in the EBITDA and EBITDA margin the last quarters actually. And that has been a lot related to the positive trend in the wood market. The smallest product area is JOINERY. And that includes windows and doors. And that is a custom-made windows and doors, not any standard windows and doors that you can buy in DIY stores. All products are custom-made. It is garden products. That is the pools, swimming pools that I showed you. But it's also a lot of fencing panels, it's stairs, it's different kind of seating groups. And then lastly, we have also one product group that is houses. This modular houses that we build. And as it is modular, we can almost build anything from multi-story buildings down to leisure and Attefall houses. Not least Attefall houses on the Swedish market has had a great success the last year. And recently we did an acquisition in the UK with the windows and door business, and this area will certainly grow the coming years. Here you can see a more flat and stable margin over the quarters, and this is a less volatile business than the wood protection and sawn wood are. And we also had some startup costs for the Swedish operations that had a negative effect, and also some pressures also on raw material prices with components and so on that has also hit the margin. Here we also see a strategic direction with growth and margin. And lastly, we have sawn wood, which is rough sawn wood to industrial customers. It's business to business. And this is a quite volatile business. We have 2 sawmills today, one in Estonia and one in Latvia. You can see also in the graph that we are having astonishing margins the last quarters due to the very strong margin. And here we also focus on margin. We do competitive investments in order to be competitive long-term, a low-cost producer, whilst the growth is not that prioritized, as it is some restriction, especially regarding raw material supply. So more focus on margin. Next page, please. As I said, we are one of the most, or one of the largest wood protection producers in Europe, with production in Sweden, Latvia, and the UK. And in Sweden, we also have a very big subcontractor business doing treatment for other sawmilling companies. We have an extensive experience in wood protection that we are helping our customers with, and forming partnerships also to invest in new products and business models. As I said, we are focusing on margin in this product area, and that will mainly be from new products or specialities. That is fire-treated timber, as the number of buildings built by wood, even multi-story buildings, will increase. The need for fire-treated wood will definitely increase. We are one of the players on that market, and we see good growth potentiality in that. We also have a product called Linax, which is owned by ourselves in the Swedish market, and that is a very well-designed product with long life characteristics. And you might have seen it also in those remake programs that has been sent on Swedish television, for example. Our selling channels in this area is mainly DIYs, where Beijer is our biggest customer on the Swedish market. Then the UK market is very big for us, as well as France and Iceland and the Baltics as well. Next page, please. Just to show you, this is our production plant in Nybro, just west of Kalmar, which is one of the largest plants in Europe for wood protection. Next slide, please. As I said, it is prioritized for us to grow in the joinery segment. And if we look what that contains, that is windows and doors. As I said, custom-made windows and doors of very high quality. Not the cheapest one, but extremely well performed and produced. The key markets for us is UK and Iceland. We are also taking steps into the Swedish market now that we invest quite heavily to enter that market. Garden products, that is the products that I said before, is swimming pools, it's fencing panels, stairs, sitting groups. And we have also just bought a trademark also in Sweden called Radical Wood, and that we have very well designed and good looking furniture for the Swedish or Scandinavian market. And that could actually be bought online on the webpage at Woodworks by Bergs. That is the first e-commerce solution that we have in the group. So we see that they were really working in the forefront to the end customers. And then we have modular and Attefalls houses. We can do almost every house that we would like to see, but we are still at the moment focusing more on leisure houses and Attefalls houses, and small multi-story buildings like leisure houses. Next, please. And this is picture of our operations in our subsidiary Byggolat in Latvia. And it is one of the largest sites covering both wood protection and joinery segment. And down to the left, we have a new house production building. And down to the right, we have just made the groundwork for the new investment to increase the capacity for doors and windows. Next slide, please. You can wonder that we sold the Swedish sawmills last year, why we still keep our Baltic sawmills. And we have one sawmill in Estonia, which mainly focuses on deliveries to our production site in Latvia. The other one, Vika Woods, is one of the biggest sawmills in Latvia, with about 10% of the annual production in Latvia. This has over the years been very, very profitable. It is well invested and have a very competitive business model with industrial customers and are working with extremely low ready stock. And one of the reasons also that these businesses are more profitable than the Swedish businesses is that the correlation between raw material prices in terms of saw logs are more correlated to the end price to the market. That is not the case that we had in the Swedish sawmills with very long procurement process and stock of standing forests with fixed prices and very low correlation to the end market. But we don't have that business model in Latvia. It is more correlated to the end market, which is very good. And that we really can see also in the historic profitability numbers. Next slide, please. And this is our operations in Vika Wood in Latvia, that we have invested quite a lot of money to be long-term competitive. Next slide. In addition to these three product areas, we also have two smaller companies. One is within energy, and that we have a production of pellet. We have a factory in Fågelfors in eastern Småland. It is actually one of the most modern in Sweden, very competitive. But this has been, it is a very, very volatile business, very correlated also to the need of heating. And as we had very warm winters the last years, it has been performing not very good. But that we are thinking could be changed later on. We also have a port operation in the UK. We have a port just east of London, very close to the Thames. And that we handle wood and steel, not just our own wood import from our subsidiaries in Baltics and external suppliers, but also mostly from external parties. So we provide unloading, storage, and distribution. We also have a small wood protection treatment business also at the port. Next slide. Looking at our financial targets that we decided on March this year, we have decided that we should have an annual growth of about 10% over a business cycle through organic and through acquisitions. Our long-term EBITDA margin should be 9%. We had 15% these first 6 months of this year, so we're overperforming, but we have an extremely strong market that we should remember. We should have a financial net debt less than equity, and we are aiming for a distribution of dividend to the shareholders of 25 to 40% of the net profit of the year. Next slide, please. And how should we do this growth then? As I said, we are mainly interested to grow the wood protection area and the joinery area. We are not aiming for a considerable growth in the sawmilling business. And we have plans of almost 500 million SEK of organic investments, capacity investments for growth. And we can see a number of those to the right on the slide when we have decided on a number of those that we are performing at the moment. Then we also see an opportunity for acquisitions as well, mainly in those areas, wood protection and the JOINERY area. Next slide. And acquisitions, what are we interested of? Yeah, we are not interested of any turnaround cases. It should be proven profitability and sustainable business. It should be room for growth and add-ons. It should be in line with our company values, of course, and it should be in our core markets, and that is actually Scandinavia, Baltics, Central Europe, and the UK. Next slide, please. There we can see the acquisition that we made this year. That is a performance timber products group in the UK that is mainly a distribution company of high-quality wooden windows and doors, where we have 43 showrooms around England to show our products. And we also have a production site making the more bigger projects like the Turnberry golf course that I showed earlier on. And this is also the reason why we had the picture on the front slide with the hotel in London, in Westminster district. And the windows on that picture was actually supplied by our subsidiary that we just bought. The reason for doing this, of course, it has been a big customer of ours, and we would like also take the step closer to our end customers. Next slide, please. Sustainability is, of course, very important for us, like many companies, and the big advantage for us is that the wood products are very good from a CO2 perspective, and the substitution effect is quite big compared to with other construction materials. And our products are also very long-lasting. And we are working with a framework that we have decided on and set a number of goals for different areas in the sustainability area that relates to how we buy wood, how we work with our work environment, and also our fossil emissions that we should be zero in about 10 years. So lastly, the last slide. Yes, for a few remarks about the market situation. As you have seen, it has been very strong market for mainly renovation and construction due to the pandemic that we definitely have gained from. And we still see a very strong market, and we'll see how long it will last. But in that same time, it will be some high balance between supply and demand, of course. But still very good and strong market. So thank you by this. Then I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Anders, for an interesting presentation. So we have a few minutes left, so we can take a short Q&A.
I was a bit too long, unfortunately.
No, that's no problem. My first question is regarding your target of 10% growth per year. How much is this target is related to organic growth, and how much is related to M&As?
I would say that we, as I showed, we have a lot of identified investment projects that will increase our capacity. So we are in the plans to start that quite a lot. So I would say that initially the growth will come organically, and then we are more focused on acquisitions. But of course, we are looking for acquisition all the time, but more organic in the short term and acquisitions long term.
Thank you. And also regarding acquisitions, could you give us some flavor about the recent acquisition of Performance Timbers product group? What synergies and potential do you see from this acquisition?
This is very interesting, actually, and we, as we have been a big supplier to that company, we know them as a supplier. And that also means now if we can control the market a little bit more than we have done before. And that also allows us to do some capacity investments in the doors and windows factory in Latvia. And we just decided to grow that business and increase the capacity in 5 years by 50%. That we could not have done if we don't had done this acquisition, I would say. And then we see the business model that is very good, and I think it's also applicable in other markets. So we're looking at that business model and take that to Sweden firstly to enter the market for doors and windows.
Thank you. And also for your organic growth within joinery and wood protection. Could you name some of the product areas where you see the biggest potential for growth here?
Yeah, if we look at the wood protection area, we see definitely increased need of fire-protected timber that we will certainly grow. We also had the product Linax that I mentioned that is very high design and very good looking and very long durability. So that has caused a lot of interest this year, and we have made a decision also to increase that capacity 3 times to today's capacity. So we will definitely invest more in high value added and higher priced products. And with the joinery segment, I think we still will do expanding the doors and window factory. And we see also other markets to penetrate. Today it's just UK, Iceland, Sweden, but we also see needs in for example, Germany, Poland, and could even be US.
Thank you, Anders, and thank you for the presentation today and taking the time for presenting here for us. And also thank you for all who listened in. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.